The global iGaming sector is basically printing money right now. I mean, it is one of the fastest growing verticals in the entire European tech landscape.
Oh, absolutely. It's massive.
So tell me why 67% of first-time exhibitors at major gaming conferences end up going home at a massive loss.
Yeah.
Like 67%. They are literally bleeding money while standing right in the middle of a booming industry. Welcome to the deep dive.
It's a brutal statistic, isn't it? But what's fascinating here is the root cause.
Right.
When companies lose their shirts at these mega events, it is almost never because their software or their, payment gateway is flawed.
Okay.
The autopsy always points to the exact same two killers: fundamental misunderstandings of physical booth design and a complete underestimation of the logistical timeline.
Okay, let's unpack this because today we are giving you the ultimate blueprint for mastering high-stakes, massive-scale networking.
Yeah, we've got some really good data for this.
We really do. We have an incredible stack of research to guide us, centered around a comprehensive exhibitor breakdown by Expo Stand.
And they know what they're talking about.
Exactly. They are a veteran builder. Over 15 years in the trenches, 500-plus custom stands across Europe.
Right.
They've seen the multi-million-dollar successes, and they've seen the 67% who just completely fail.
Yeah, they've seen it all.
And we're using the upcoming SBC Summit Lisbon 2026, what they call the greatest show in gaming, as our ultimate case study for how to actually extract value from a crowded room.
And this case study is so valuable because, honestly, the principles of spatial psychology, structural logistics, and human behavioral momentum, they apply to any high-pressure environment.
Anywhere you need to stand out, basically.
Exactly. By the time we finish going through these mechanics, you will understand how the physical environment you build, combined with a rather ruthless approach to timing, dictates your commercial reality.
But before we can get into building a strategy, we really need to understand the sheer scale of the arena we are walking into.
It's huge.
We are looking at an event running from September 29th to October 1st at FIL. That's the Feira International de Lisboa.
Right. And the massive MEO arena right next door.
Yeah.
The footprint of this summit is genuinely staggering. I mean, you are looking at a gathering of over 20,000 delegates flying in from more than 100 different countries.
20,000.
Yep. And you have 800-plus exhibitors on the floor, all attempting to cover every conceivable corner of the gaming ecosystem.
Like sports betting, casino platforms, all that.
Exactly. Payments, compliance, affiliate marketing. It is the entire global nervous system of an industry concentrated under a single roof for 3 days.
Okay, I hear that scale, and I get the magnitude, but let me throw some pushback at you right out of the gate.
Sure, go for it.
If I am the CEO of, let's say, a cloud-based compliance startup or a digital payment processor, my buyers live on their screens, right?
Right, yeah.
My product lives in the cloud. Why on earth am I approving a budget of tens of thousands of euros to fly a team of 8 across the Atlantic or across Europe to stand in a giant hall in Portugal?
It's a fair question.
Like, I could take that same budget and run incredibly precise, hyper-targeted digital ad campaigns without anyone leaving their couch.
It's the most common objection CFOs have when approving these budgets, actually.
I bet.
But it fundamentally ignores the reality of the B2B enterprise sales cycle.
How so?
Well, in high-stakes enterprise software payment processing, nobody is swiping a corporate credit card for $1 million contract just because they saw a clever ad on LinkedIn.
Okay, fair point.
In these sectors, trust is the ultimate currency, and physical proximity accelerates trust in a way that digital simply cannot replicate.
That makes sense.
And the data from Expo Stand provides a brilliant counterexample to your digital-only argument.
Ooh, let's hear it.
So they monitored a mid-size iGaming software provider who booked a 30-square-meter custom stand at a recent SBC Summit.
Okay, pretty decent size.
Yeah. Over the course of just 72 hours, that single physical location generated 340 qualified badge-scanned leads.
340.
And more importantly, 47 scheduled sit-down meetings with actual decision-makers.
Wait, 47 enterprise meetings in 3 days.
Exactly. Now, when that company's digital marketing team ran the analytics on what it would cost and how long it would take to replicate that exact volume of highly qualified engagement online.
Oh, let me guess. It wasn't pretty.
They estimated a minimum of 6 months of continuous multi-channel campaigning.
Wow. 6 months condensed into 3 days.
Yes. So you aren't just buying floor space in Lisbon. You are buying time. You are bypassing the gatekeepers, the ignored emails, the endless Zoom scheduling conflicts.
You're collapsing a half-year sales cycle into a 3-day sprint.
Exactly right.
Okay, well, when you frame it as a time machine for the sales cycle, the investment makes complete sense.
Yeah, the density of the target audience is really where the value lives.
But that density creates a terrifying new problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if there are 20,000 delegates, but there are also 800 other highly funded companies trying to grab their attention.
Yeah, it's a war zone out there.
Exactly. How do you actually get someone to stop at your specific booth?
Right.
Because the sheer cognitive overload of walking into a 12-meter-high hall with flashing lights and thousands of the people talking at once has to be blinding.
It is entirely overwhelming, and this is exactly where that 67% failure rate gets baked into the cake. Right. When you reserve your spot on the floor, the venue generally offers a base option. It's called a shell scheme.
Right, which the guide describes as basically a generic, prefabricated white box.
Pretty much.
It's the standard aluminum frame with white panels that the venue sets up for you.
And a lot of first-time exhibitors choose the shell scheme because, well, it's cheaper and easier.
They just show up, tape a few posters to the white walls, set up a laptop, and wait.
Exactly. But the behavioral data shows that attendees subconsciously filter out shell schemes.
Really, just completely ignore them.
Yeah, they read as low budget or low effort in an environment where major players are building two-story architecture.
That makes sense.
The numbers from the Builder's Guide show that moving from a shell scheme to a purpose-built custom stand yields an immediate 35 to 40% improvement in qualified lead generation.
Wow. Which means the upgrade to a custom build essentially pays for itself in recaptured opportunity cost alone.
Exactly.
But, custom is a pretty broad word. What I found fascinating about this research were the incredibly granular physical mechanics of what actually makes a delegate step out of the aisle and into your space.
The design psychology.
Yes. They talk about designing for the 3-second window.
Oh, that is the critical metric of exhibition psychology.
Right.
You have a maximum of 3 seconds as a delegate walks past your perimeter to register who you are, what you solve, and whether they feel comfortable stopping.
3 seconds. That is nothing.
It's fast. 80% of your commercial impact is decided in those 3 seconds.
That's crazy.
So if your core messaging is printed on the back wall of your booth, you are invisible. You have to push the engagement to the absolute edge of your footprint.
And that edge engagement concept brings up my favorite tactical nugget from this entire deep dive.
Oh, the counter design.
Yes. The guide talks about ergonomics, specifically advocating for a 45-degree angled, curved counter at the front edge of the stand.
It's a small detail, but it changes everything.
When I read that, it instantly clicked.
Yeah.
It's exactly like the host stand at a really high-end, welcoming restaurant.
That is the perfect analogy.
Right. If a restaurant puts a massive, straight desk blocking the doorway, it feels like a fortress.
Yeah, you feel like you're being interrogated just to ask for a table.
Exactly. But if the desk is curved and turned at an angle, it acts as an anchor for the host, but it physically invites the guest to flow past it into the dining room.
It completely reduces the psychological friction of entering the space.
It's so smart.
A straight desk across a trade show booth is a barricade. It tells the attendee, stand out in the aisle while we talk.
Yeah, stay out there.
But an angled counter creates a natural, unforced conversational pivot point.
Brilliant. But, okay, once you have reduced that entry friction, you still have to capture the eye from a distance.
Oh, for sure.
Because FIL Lisbon is not a standard convention center.
Oh.
The main halls have massive ceilings, soaring 9 to 12 meters high.
They are huge.
If you are only designing for eye level, you are wasting half your real estate.
The verticality aspect is wild. The top-tier booths are deploying these massive vertical LED towers.
Just to stand out.
Yeah, essentially creating digital lighthouses so a delegate can spot their brand from 3 aisles over.
Wow.
And they aren't just broadcasting static logos either. The guide dives heavily into interactive tech.
Like what?
Virtual reality demo pods, live trading simulators right there on the floor.
Okay, that sounds intense.
It is. And apparently, a stand utilizing gamification outperforms a static display by 2 to 3 times in actual badge scans.
That's a huge jump. But I have to ask, is a casino executive actually signing a software contract just because they played a VR game?
Wow.
Like, it feels a bit like an expensive gimmick to mask a boring product.
I get that. And if the game has nothing to do with the product, then yes, it's a terrible gimmick.
Right.
But if you design a VR pod that allows a casino operator to literally step inside the UX of your new gaming software, you aren't masking the product.
You're demonstrating it.
Exactly. You are accelerating the demo. You are bypassing a dry 10-minute PowerPoint presentation and giving them tactile proof of concept in 90 seconds.
Okay, when you put it like that, it's incredibly efficient.
It is. But engaging this level of heavy technology introduces a massive operational trap that bankrupts a lot of first-time exhibitors.
Oh, the power draw trap.
Yes.
Yeah.
People forget that a trade show hall is essentially a temporary city grid.
Right.
The exhibitor manual for SBC Summit dictates incredibly strict power consumption limits per square meter.
Which makes sense. You can't just plug in anything.
Right. A massive LED wall, multiple heavy processing VR stations, and heavy lighting rigs consume colossal amounts of electricity.
So what happens if a tech startup just designs a dazzling, screen-heavy booth, ships it to Lisbon, and plugs it all in without negotiating the power draw with the venue engineers?
It's bad. The venue's grid safety protocols will trigger, and the engineers will literally cut the power to your stand.
You're kidding me.
No, and it's not a fine you can just pay your way out of on the day. Your booth goes black.
Oh, man.
You have spent a year of budget, flown your executives across the world, and you are standing in the dark.
That is a nightmare.
It is a catastrophic failure, and it has absolutely nothing to do with design and everything to do with logistics.
Which is the perfect bridge into the hidden machinery of all this. Because realizing you need a custom-built, tech-integrated, ergonomically flawless architecture with custom power routing immediately begs the question.
How do you build it?
Exactly. How on earth does this actually get built? You cannot just order a bespoke LED fortress on Amazon a month before the flight.
Definitely not.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The logistical timeline detailed in this guide is incredibly unforgiving. The countdown doesn't start in the summer. It starts a full year out.
If you want to actually dictate your terms, yes. 12 months minimum.
Wow.
The prime real estate on the floor, the corner plots, the intersections near the main entrances, those are gone 9 to 12 months before the doors open.
So if you wait until Q2 to brief your builders for a Q3 show,
You are fighting for scraps in the back corners.
and the deadlines, it's not just about paying your deposit and relaxing.
Yeah.
There is a terrifying cascade of mandatory technical deadlines.
Oh, yeah.
At 8 weeks out, you have to submit full technical CAD drawings and elevation specs for venue approval.
Because the venue engineers have to verify that your structure won't collapse on anyone.
Right. And then, at 6 weeks out, you hit the most critical hurdle, the method statements and comprehensive risk assessments.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Stop there for a second, because method statement sounds like corporate buzzword bingo.
It really does.
What does that actually mean for the people building the booth?
A method statement is a highly detailed, step-by-step physical breakdown of exactly how your contractors are going to safely erect a massive structure in a crowded hall.
So it's the physics and the safety protocol.
Exactly. How are they suspending a 2-ton truss of lighting above a walkway? What mechanical lifts are they using?
Okay.
If your builder fails to provide that math, or if they miss the 4-week deadline for contractor accreditation forms, FIL Security will physically block your build team from entering the loading bay.
You're completely locked out.
Completely.
Your entire investment dies on the loading dock because someone forgot to file a safety PDF. That is so stressful.
Gets intense.
And the stress compounds when you factor in the sheer geography of the event. The guide points out something really interesting about Lisbon.
Oh, the location of FIL.
Yes, FIL is phenomenally located. It's right on the Red Line, maybe an 8 to 12-minute metro ride from Humberto Delgado Airport.
Which is incredibly convenient.
It is. It is in a district called Parque das Nações.
Which is a beautiful, hyper-modern area right on the water.
Yeah, but because it is so incredibly convenient, the premium hotels in that specific perimeter, places like the Myriad or the Tivoli Oriente, they sell out entirely 6 to 9 months in advance.
Which means if your logistics team treats booking hotels like a casual afterthought, your sales executives are going to be commuting 25 minutes across central Lisbon every single morning.
Oh, that's rough during a show.
And on a high-pressure build day where your project manager needs to be on the floor at 7 a.m. to oversee the electrical rigging, a 25-minute commute delay can derail the entire schedule.
Exactly. Every logistical friction point degrades the energy of your team before the show even starts.
Yes.
Speaking of friction points, the exhibitor guide reveals a massive operational hack regarding how you actually move the physical booth itself.
Oh, the shipping strategy.
Yeah. Let me guess this setup. If I am an American software company, I'm probably thinking I'll design this amazing custom booth in Chicago, pack it into a shipping container, send it across the ocean, and then fly it back when the summit is over.
You can certainly try that.
But
But you are exposing yourself to the absolute nightmare of international customs delays for heavy structural materials right up against a fixed deadline. If your shipping container is held up at the port for 48 hours, you miss the build window, period.
that's terrifying. So what's the workaround?
The data from Atom Expo stand strongly advocates for local execution and post-show local storage.
Right, they offer warehouse storage in Portugal for annual exhibitors.
Yes. By having a European partner build the core structure locally and then storing those heavy aluminum frames, custom counters, and bulky furniture in Portugal year-round, you eliminate the customs risk entirely.
That is brilliant.
Furthermore, the guide estimates this reduces annual freight costs by 30 to 40%.
That's a massive saving.
You only need to ship over the new graphic wraps or, specific updated tech each year. You completely de-risk the heaviest part of the operation.
De-risking the heavy lifting makes total sense.
Oh,
Okay, so let's fast forward. We've survived the 12 months of planning.
barely.
Right. We secured a corner spot. The method statements were approved. The curve counter is beautifully positioned. The screens are blazing, and the power grid is stable.
The dream scenario.
The doors open. 20,000 highly qualified delegates flood into the FEL halls. But all of that architecture, all of that logistical perfection is utterly meaningless if the human beings standing inside the booth look miserable and unapproachable.
Oh, 100%.
We have to talk about showtime execution.
We really do, because this is where a lot of companies just assume the team will, figure it out on the fly.
Right.
We all know trade show fatigue is a brutal reality. You are standing on thin carpet over concrete, under intense spotlights, trying to project high-energy charisma over the roll of thousands of conversations.
It is exhausting just thinking about it.
You simply cannot ask a sales executive to maintain an elite, persuasive demeanor for an 8-hour unbroken marathon.
And the guide offers a surprisingly rigid operational cure for this. They don't just suggest taking breaks.
No, they mandate it.
Exactly. They mandate a structural shift from a marathon mentality to a sprint mentality. You rotate your floor staff strictly every 3 to 4 hours.
Which is so smart.
When they're on the floor, they are fresh, hyper-engaged, and hunting. When they're off, they're entirely off the floor recovering.
And you give them highly specific metrics during those sprints.
Like quotas.
Yeah. The recommendation is a daily target of 15 to 20 qualified badge spans per person.
Oh, wow.
Not just handing out flyers, but deeply qualifying 15 people.
That is focused.
And those interactive tech demos we discussed earlier, you don't just run them whenever someone wanders by. You schedule live product demonstrations strictly on the hour.
That's brilliant. It creates a predictable rhythm of high traffic. The whole team knows that at 2:00 p.m., a crowd is going to form, so they can position themselves to intercept the overflow.
Exactly.
But what really blew my mind was a tactic that completely changes the math of those badge scans. There is a pre-show strategy that almost guarantees ROI before anyone even boards a flight to Lisbon.
Oh, the matchmaking platform?
Exactly. SBC Summit activates a networking and matchmaking platform 4 to 6 weeks prior to the event. And the statistics on this are staggering.
They really are.
Brands that actively use this platform to pre-book 30 to 50 sit-down meetings, arrive at the show, and ultimately generate 60 to 80% of their total qualified leads from those scheduled interactions.
60 to 80% of the success is locked in before the doors even open.
It fundamentally changes the vibe of the booth. It's like opening a new restaurant where the tables are already fully booked for the opening weekend by VIPs.
It takes all the desperation out of it.
Exactly. You aren't standing at your curved counter sweating, hoping the right executive happens to stroll down aisle 4. You already know the CTO of a major casino group is sitting down with you at 11:30 a.m. on Tuesday.
The booth feels busy, it looks successful to passersby, and any organic foot traffic you capture in the aisles is purely a bonus on top of a guaranteed baseline.
Exactly. That pre-booked momentum is the hallmark of a veteran exhibitor.
It really is. But even if you execute the sprints flawlessly and you run your pre-booked meetings perfectly, there is one final, incredibly unforgiving rule in the guide where companies spectacularly fail.
Oh, no.
The 24-hour drop-off.
I felt physically stressed reading this part.
It's so common, though.
We've all been there. The show closes on Thursday afternoon. The team is completely wiped out.
Exhausted.
You pack up, you fly home on Friday, you sleep all weekend, and you tell your team, great job, everyone. Let's sync up on Monday and start emailing all those leads we scanned.
And by Monday morning, you have already lost the war.
Yeah.
The guide cites Salesforce data regarding post-event engagement, and the drop-off cliff is terrifying.
Let's hear the numbers.
If you do not send the first personalized follow-up communication within 24 hours of the show closing, your response rates plummet by 70%.
70% of the value just evaporates.
Gone.
Just think about the psychology of that. By Monday, that delegate has flown home. They have a mountain of unread internal emails. They have jet lag. And the magic of that conversation you had in Lisbon is completely wiped from their cognitive RAM.
Exactly. Which is why the follow-up cannot be a manual task you figure out after the flight.
Right.
You must have your CRM segmenting built months in advance.
Months in advance.
Yes. Your sales team on the floor shouldn't just be scanning badges. They should be tagging them in the app instantly.
Like hot lead for compliance software or warm lead for payment gateway or competitor.
Exactly. Because the follow-up email funnels for each of those categories should already be written and approved.
So that your floor manager can literally hit deploy on the entire database while sitting in the Tapi Air Portugal lounge waiting for the flight home.
Precisely. I mean, you wouldn't spend a year engineering a $1 million race car just to forget to put fuel in it on race day.
No, you definitely wouldn't.
Why would you spend 12 months designing a structural masterpiece, flying a team across the world, and securing premium meetings only to abandon the data you harvested?
It's self-sabotage.
The digital follow-up must be treated with the exact same logistical urgency as the architectural blueprints.
Man. So, what does this all mean? If we pull all these threads together, what is the ultimate blueprint we've extracted from this SBC Lisbon case study?
Well,
It seems to be that mastering a massive networking environment requires merging two completely different skill sets.
right.
You need the psychological empathy to design a space that eliminates friction, knowing you only have 3 seconds to invite someone past an angled counter.
Yeah.
And you must marry that with a ruthless, almost militaristic logistical foresight, filing safety math 6 weeks early, operating in 3-hour sprints, and systematizing the follow-up before the event even begins.
Spot on. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this blueprint is a powerful reminder about the mechanics of human attention.
How so?
Well, capturing attention is just step one. Whether you are building a 2-story LED tower in Portugal, or you are delivering a keynote presentation in your own boardroom.
Right.
A flashy VR headset or a great opening slide might get someone to stop walking. But without a rigid underlying system to convert that brief moment of attention into a booked meeting, a segmented lead, and an immediate next action.
The attention is completely worthless.
Exactly. The magic isn't in the flashing lights of the booth. It's in the invisible machinery running beneath it.
The machinery beneath the magic.
Yeah.
That is the perfect takeaway. And it leaves me with one final thought I want you to mull over. We started this deep dive by questioning why digital-first companies spend fortunes to build physical structures. In an era where we can instantly connect with absolutely anyone on Earth through a screen, I find it endlessly fascinating that the most lucrative, needle-moving business on the planet still relies on flying thousands of miles just to look a stranger in the eye and shake their hand inside a meticulously engineered 18-square-meter box.
It really does.
It really makes you think about what physical spaces you are utilizing to build trust in your own professional life.
Good point.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the spaces around you, and we'll catch you next time.